Hello and welcome to Knowledge by Nature. In today's video, I am coming back from our first break of third grade, and I am going to attempt to forward plan just a little bit more than normal. If you'd like to see how I do this, stick around. All right, welcome back. If this is your first time here, I am a homeschool mom to a third grader. We love all things books, homeschool, and sharing our journey with you. And if that is something that you are interested in, I would love if you consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed today's video, give me a thumbs up. All right, so yes, we took our first official break of third grade. And honestly, besides, like being out of town or people coming up, this may have been the first break that we took simply to take a break. That's excluding our, summer break. But always in the past, I was like, oh, I don't need this break. She seems fine. And maybe we'd, do some slow weeks, or we would take an extra long weekend or something. But this year, I wanted to try the 6 on, 1 off and just kind of see how that worked. And we started in July, and then we came back, and so we really started back full time here in late August. And so we went through in October 2nd through the 8th or something like that. Let's look at the calendar. Looking at the calendar, our break week was here. So we took the break, and now I'm coming back, and I want to forward plan just a little bit more than I normally do. And one thing I want to start off by looking is my little ideas for the month, because I realized I forgot to do the Johnny Appleseed at the very, very end of September. Apples are still here. We're picking apples, things like that. So I haven't let it go too far. So I do want to plan that for this week. The next thing I want to do is kind of look at where my next break would be. So we're going to be starting here. So this would be week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. Week 7 falls on Thanksgiving. How perfect is that? I did not plan that at all, but that works out wonderful. So even if we want to completely take this week off, which I may, because this break week has been tremendous. I didn't really think I needed a break, but I feel so much better. I'm so refreshed after doing it, and I know that she absolutely enjoyed having all that time off. But I also really like to do a Thanksgiving unit study. So I might only do that and omit everything else. And so here I have my little thing left over from last time. But I kind of actually want to save this for something else. So I'm going to just put here, you know what? Let me just grab another one. All right. Since I know this is going to be something I am wanting to do, what I'll do is I'll just make another little break week, and that way I know that, okay, right here, this is going to be break week, and then I will move that to the next one, and then I'll save this for when I get into here. Now, I did go ahead and I wrote down everything that we did on our break week here so that I can know what we did, as well as I'm starting to plan. Now, week 7, you'll see here, that was a break. And then now we are going to be on week 1 of our next round. So this is actually our 9th week of homeschool. I don't know that that's anything I really need or even want to keep up with, but I went through and I just wrote that in advance for quite a few weeks here. You'll see, looks like I stopped at the 12th week. So this is week 1 of our second round here. One thing I noticed over break is that I had failed to do this in September, so I went ahead and wrote that down, and then I made a note that this week is when we will do writing and rhetoric. So again, I'm going to get my little fancy pencil out here and a couple of pens. All right, I'm feeling very fallish, so I think I'm going to use my orange and my green here, which is what I did last time. That's okay. I will reverse it. It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to reverse it this time. So all I do is I go down through here, and this used to be something that was somewhat annoying for me to have to rewrite all of this in one of my previous planners. But I don't know what it is about this one, but it doesn't bother me in the least to write this every week. So, I don't know. It is a wonderful planner. I do love this School Nest planner. And I do only write 1 week at a time just because maybe this needs to change. I don't know. And that way I can change it if I need to. So now I'm just going to put the days of the week up here. And using my other color, I'm just going to put the dates because that is very helpful sometimes to make sure that I am on the correct date. All right, now I'm going to just go ahead and jot down some of the things that I know will be happening. All right, so I have put down the things that I know as far as extra will be happening this week. Monday is Indigenous Peoples Day, Columbus Day, so I'm going to put a little star here and just note that down. And I may either find some free resources online. I will go through our personal library and see if I can find anything that goes through this. I know I have a few books on this from like our November unit study, so I'm just going to jot that down just so that I remember to do that. Now really quickly, I want to put this on here. So let's see, this would be week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this right here because that is going to jog my memory that, hey, should we go ahead and take a break week? And with that falling on Thanksgiving, I absolutely think that will be a good chunk of a break week. All right, now the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to go through my fall activity guide for our Knowledge Crate. If you haven't seen what came in this one, I will put the link right here. Oh, wow, there was some really, really good books that we are excited to read. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look through here and see if I want to supplement any of these as a science or history lesson for one of these weeks, or if there's anything that would be really good to set out for our morning strewing time. And so I'm just looking through this for a moment just to see exactly what I might want to make sure that I get done in the next 2 weeks, just to make sure that I don't miss out on like a great time for doing it. Now I see my exploring woodland animals. I think I'm going to set that out this week. And I also see a watercolor leaf art. The leaves have majorly changed here and they're starting to drop. So I think this is a great time to maybe do this. So whether it is actually a morning thing, probably not so much, but it is something that I want to do. Now, Tuesdays are a day that I can set more time to homeschool. So I am going to put that down. I'm just going to add this in with my morning time. It doesn't mean that it is going to happen during the morning time, but it's just an extra little section that I can add things to. And then I'm just going to put a little note here that this is from my Knowledge Crate. One thing that I find really helpful when I'm planning here is, what is it that I need to get done this week? Do I have any appointments? Is there anything that is out of the house or that I am tied up with that I don't put a watercolor leaf art on one of those busier days? And so Mondays are pretty busy for me. So I want to put a light load for myself because it's going to make me a happier person if I don't overload Mondays, because I have so many things that have to be done outside of the homeschool world on Mondays and also on Wednesday. All right, another thing that I am going to look at is my weather. If I'm going to have an exceptionally beautiful day, which it looks like Monday is going to be one of those days, any extra things that I can add to get us outdoors and enjoying that a little bit more, I'm going to do. And there is a fall I spy here. So again, going back to my little knowledge crate, I'm going to double check that there isn't some fabulous things that I need to do. And right here, fall scavenger hunt. So yes, this is going to be a great thing to do. And I'm going to put that under science. And I'm going to put fall scavenger hunt. And I will also pull out the things that I need for this and have it on the table for myself for Monday, because it is a Monday thing. We do still homeschool, but everything that I can have ready ahead of time is very helpful for myself. Now, the other thing I saw in here is the exploring woodland animals, and I do want to make sure that I set this out, and I think that would be something really fun for her to mess with, maybe even on Monday or Wednesday. I think I'll put it on Monday, just because I think that will be a really fun thing for her to start her Monday out with, because she loves animals. So again, I'm going to set this out, and that way she can just look at the little creatures, look at the little woodland animals that come with our set, and then she can look at the fact cards, and who knows what we'll do off of this. That may be something that we add in. Now, Mondays are independent days. I have this sitting out here as a reminder, so I'm going to add in studies weekly. She will do this on both Monday and Wednesday, because those are things she can do independently while I am in meetings. Now, again, I'm building on the 2 days that I know that I have busier days. So I'm really just looking a lot at Monday and Wednesday at the time. So I'm just going to put right here, reading time, where she will read independently, and we will have independent reading time on Wednesday as well. Now, I had mentioned the Johnny Appleseed section, and let's see here. That was, okay, it looks like I have another one coming up that I had noted down for October, which is bats. That could be something I want to add in next week, but let's go to Johnny Appleseed, which is page 76. Oh, I actually have quite a few here for October. So I have the bats that I just mentioned and why the leaves change color. That's also one that I have listed for fall. And then we have our Johnny Appleseed. So since we're doing our leaf watercolor art, I am going to add this down for my reading on Tuesday. So let's look at that really quickly. Sometimes these are big pages and sometimes they're not. Okay, this is not much at all. So I am going to add this one definitely to Tuesday. So this will not take very much time at all, but this will tie in really nicely with our leaf art here. So we can just really talk about why leaves change colors and things like that. So that is kind of a happy little accident that those things work together. Now let's look at the Johnny Appleseed. Okay, so again, this is the reading Skill Sharpeners by Evan Moore. So it doesn't have to go in any sort of order. So we have a reading section here, and then we have our apples by the year, questions about Johnny Appleseed, tell it in order, an apple tree. We're going to do a diagram of that. So you can see this has many more pages than the other one that I just showed you for the leaves, which was only one. This one really just has a lot of good information in it. You're working on spelling, pronouns, alphabetical order, the sounds of A, you're adding ED. What does it mean? There's a lot of really good activities in this one. And so sometimes when I'm like, I don't know what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in some things that I know that's going to happen. So traditional spelling, I always just put MP spelling because that's Memoria Press spelling. I'm going to add that to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now the reason I am not putting it on Friday is because we have co-op and gymnastics on Thursday, and we do not always have time to do extra stuff except for car schooling on this day right here. So most of the time right now, Thursdays are a car school, which means that we have lots of different worksheets, which could be great to add in some of these Johnny Appleseed days. You know what? That is a good idea. So I'm going to go ahead and put Johnny Appleseed here because I would like to throw that in with her car school that day. So even though she won't be doing Memoria Press spelling, I could add in these 2 pages here for her car schooling on Thursday. So I do like that. So let's go ahead and add in this Johnny Appleseed here. So I'm going to go ahead and assign this for starting on Monday. So what we will do is we will read this together. We will do this page and this page. And I don't always go for the pages, but this time I am, because 81 is going to tie in really nicely with the fall scavenger hunt. So we will walk by a tree on our little scavenger hunt and we'll look at the apple tree and we'll kind of, you know, we obviously can't see the roots, but we can look at all of the other parts, and that way when she comes back she can label these. Might even take this with us as part of our little clipboard for our nature walk. All right, so I'm not going to assign too much yet because I know that we start our writing and rhetoric back. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out, and I'm going to figure out, okay, what is week 2? And I didn't even get the right book. It doesn't really matter. They're kind of the same, actually. All right, now that I have went through this, I'm going to go ahead and write down writing and rhetoric. So I'm going to have day 1. I'm going to put writing and rhetoric, let's see, lesson 2, day 1, writing and rhetoric, lesson 2, day 2, and then writing and rhetoric, lesson 2, day 3. Now it is likely that is all that we will need for this week, but if we do need to go into Friday, I can write it there then, and so there's not really a whole lot that I want to carry forward too much. Now, all right, now let's go ahead and have a look at what I'm looking at for dimensions for this week. All right, so it looks like we're going into word problems, part 1, word problems, part 2. Monday, I'm actually going to assign her Beast Academy. That way we can have some independent time with that. And so here I know that on Tuesday, I'm going to have dimensions lesson 9. And then dimensions lesson 10. And again, that's as far as I'm going with forward planning too much with these bigger ones, because if we get stuck with something, then I don't want to have to erase a ton of stuff. All right, now here I'm going to write in Story of the World for Tuesday, and I'm also going to write down Elemental Science for Tuesday. All right, I just have quickly looked at my elemental science to see what all we're going to be doing. And it looks like we're going to be covering volcanoes this week. And so we're going to be doing a volcano experiment. We have done this numerous times in the past, but we're going to do it again. And so on Tuesday, we will have more time. And so I'm actually going to make a note to make the volcano, because it needs like a day to air dry all the way. Tuesday we'll make the volcano. On Wednesday we will do the experiment, maybe. And if we don't, we'll do that on Friday. And if not on Friday, we will continue our model Earth and we will work on that. So one thing I would love to do is to make Fridays just a little bit slower and different, which I'm working on doing, but as you know, it just takes time to get these things going sometimes. And now I'm just going to briefly plan for the next week. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put that I have this Evan Moore bats, and that is something that may need to be done next week. But So I don't know if I want to do that next week, but let's look back here where I had kind of wrote down some different books. So I have my Evan Moore reading. Then it looks like I have, okay, that's the same book, The Leaves, which I'm going to do this week. And then we have poetry, Spider of the Fly. So let's pull that book. All right, so yes, I have right here The Spider and the Fly, which is a poem. So I'm going to go to page 23. These are very quick, actually. So you'll read this, and then you have understanding the poem, and then another little question there. So I'm going to put this right here, Evan Moore, poem. So I don't necessarily have to do both of these next week because I will have one more week of Halloween, and both of those will be really nice. So I'm going to, again, write in my days of the week and all of that fun stuff for this week, just so I can quickly note some things down. All right, as before, I have put all of my subjects and the date across the top. I'm going to put the things that I know that are going to be happening down here at the bottom. And now this week will not be Writing and Rhetoric week. It will actually be where we do our Evan Moore Grammar and Punctuation and our Evan Moore Daily 6 Writing. So all of these things I will put right here. Evan Moore Daily 6, Evan Moore Grammar and Punctuation. So I know that those things will go on this week here. I'm going to write down Studies Weekly on Monday and Wednesday. And then I'm coming in to my Knowledge Crate section again, and I want to do this little set of things here. So it's finding someone, changing time, and building my family tree. All of those kind of go together really, really nicely. And rather than go too far into actually writing that, I'm just going to put Knowledge Crate here so that when I go to start planning on Friday the 14th, that I will know that I want to do this family tree section. And I think that will be a really fun little section to do. Now, again, I'm not forward planning very much at all, but I am just looking at some things for the month that I know will need to be getting done. And I also know that here, let's remind myself that I'm not going to be doing Writing and Rhetoric this week. And we also haven't done All About Reading in a few weeks because we've been doing so much independent reading. And I don't really know that nope, I'm not going to add All About Reading in here. And I may or may not do All About Reading on this week. So All About Reading we're doing very sporadically just because she doesn't want to finish it. She loves it, but she doesn't want it to be over. So I thought that, you know what, we'll just kind of postpone this some, and we're doing lots of reading. We're doing lots of reading activities and spelling and all of that kind of stuff, and she is reading daily, but we're not doing our All About Reading lesson every week. So while I didn't forward plan a whole lot into the next week, I do have an idea of a lot of stuff that I do want to get done. All right, so this is going to get me going for tomorrow. There are a few things that I want to print off, and I'm going to also pull everything that I will need from my Knowledge Crate in the Exploring the Woodland animals. So I'm going to get those things done, as well as I'm going to go through our books and look to see if I have any books that we can cover on this, which will jump up to doing our history that day. Whew. So it is a little bit overwhelming coming back from a break and trying to remember where we were. That is something I want to work on next time, is making myself more notes. And the week right before the break starts, I want to write down a lot of stuff as far as we ended here on dimensions. I want to pick this up. I want to make myself more notes so that it makes it a little bit easier for me coming back in after this break week. But the break week was wonderful, and I needed it far more than I realized. But This has us set up for the first 3 days of the week, and if I get all of these things done, then it was a very successful week. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it wasn't too rambly and that you found some use out of it. If you did, I would love if you would give me that thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!